Welcome, Nico Lagan, to Coaching in Session. How are you doing today?
I'm always good, brother. You?
Doing well. Thanks so much for coming on. Today, we're going to be talking about your work as a men's coach. And I already know we're going to have a great conversation because there's going to be a lot of hot topics that we need to be talking about, especially what's going on in society. And it seems like you're the man for the job. In your own words, tell the world who you are, what you do, and how you help.
I'm an eternal student, is what I am. How I help? I teach men to embrace traditional masculinity, to really not be ashamed of who they are, and on the contrary, to actually go for it, that it's needed. And I don't know that it's It, I got to be honest, it surprises me that it's even a subject of conversation. I wish I did not have to speak about this. I wish I could be speaking on how to elevate your mind, how to take it to the next level. How do you go from having a 9 to 5 to actually changing your whole life and being successful and integrating spirituality in your life? But unfortunately, most people are not there. Most people still need to understand that there is a difference between a man and a woman, and it doesn't take away from either women or men. We're meant to complement each other. We're not supposed to be the same. This is the beauty of God's creation. And yeah, we'll talk about that. Although it's if you told me 10 years ago that that would be my life, I wouldn't have believed
I mean, I'm with you there. Just recently, I was called a misogynist on YouTube because I
you.
because I'm promoting that men show up in their life. And it's just so crazy how it's just like how you want to support men, but the moment you do it in a way of trying to empower them, look at Andrew Tate, he's being attacked on every angle.
Yep.
And it's almost like women empowerment is like, okay, we can support women as long as you're all for equal or just women rights. It's like, all right,
Yep.
cool, we could be on your side. But the moment you step into, well, men, you should show up because at one point in life, we were the force to reckon with. And now we are the force that is literally laughed at. We are the laughing stock. Most men are just average, they're mediocre, they're complacent. And as long as they have that mindset, they're truly not going to find happiness because they have to step into that nature. So we're going to be having that full conversation today. I would like to get into to start this off. Where do you think we went wrong?
We did. It's guys like you and I that's the problem. It's guys like my age and older that are the problem. Or when I talk conservative, if I call a man conservative, I'm not talking about a political party. I'm not saying you're a Republican or a liberal. You have traditional values as to there are gender roles and there are differences between men and women. So if I use the word conservative, that's what I mean. We went wrong because conservative men did nothing. We expected those, over the past 10 years, the mentality has so changed. It's like the patient are running the asylum. We are really in a situation where we've allowed kids to grow up without people telling them that they were wrong, that your feelings do not matter to anybody else outside of yourself. What matters are facts. Yes, you might not feel right about something. That doesn't change the fact that something is true. However you feel about it doesn't matter. So we went from letting them be to letting them grow up with that mentality without ever correcting them. And now we're in a situation where those people are adults and they're in a situation where they can vote. They're in the workforce. Those people have become managers, directors. They actually have people reporting to them. So we are in a world where, because you and I let it happen, I see them like children. It's like we had a bunch of children that we just let be. You know what? Do whatever you want. It's fine. We'll deal with you later on because I got too many things going on in my life. I don't have the time to deal with you right now. And this is what we did. We just let it go. We At least I'll speak for myself on this one. I thought it would correct itself. Winston Churchill said that if you are not a liberal in your 20s, you have no heart. But if you're not a conservative in your 40s, you have no head. And I always keep that in mind. Like, I was more liberal. I'm Canadian, so I used to be very liberal. And then over the years, I realized that, you know what? Life isn't fair. There's nothing fair about life. There's no such thing as safe spaces. As soon as you step out that front door, you are in the world, and the world is not made of unicorn and fairies. It is brutal. It will kick you in the behind if you let it. It will bring you down to your knees. But you have the power to do something. It is all down to accountability, and that's the problem. We did not teach those men children or their men teenagers that there are facts in life that are not trumped by their emotions. So this is where it went wrong. We went wrong. I'll accept that on the chin. I'll say that I went wrong. And this is why I do what I do, because I'm trying to do my part, considering that I did my part in letting it happen.
Yeah, I mean, I was a teacher for many years, and I saw it in the school starting in 2009 when I was in there. I
Yeah.
saw the weak men, I saw moms fighting for their sons, and they just were becoming more passive. And so as I went on for the next 6, 7 years in teaching, I saw it compounding. It was becoming worse.
Yep.
And I said, you know what? Like, if I keep doing this, and by the time I retire, what would I have accomplished? Yes, I taught
Mhm.
some kids. Yes, I made an impact in a couple kids' lives, but the whole world is suffering, right? This is not just one district anymore. This is the whole world. How can I have a greater impact? And that led me to my whole journey to trying to figure out what I wanted to do that was bigger than just being a teacher. Nothing wrong with teachers, they're great. We need them, but we do have to take some accountability, just as you were saying.
Mhm.
And it's important that we look at the onset of the emotional rising, right? Look at your emotions, not at logic. This
Mhm.
is where the whole emotional intelligence conversation came in, right? Oh, you got to be emotionally intelligent. You got to talk about your feelings. And I go off on these people. I did whole podcasts. I've written whole blogs. I had guests come on talk about EQ, and I tear them apart. And as much as emotional intelligence has a place, there is a time limit for that. When you're
Mhm.
young, you should learn about your emotions. You should learn how to control them, but you should
Yeah.
not let them lead you, right? You have to learn how to be the leader in your life. So, with that being said, how can we get out of that illogical aspect of emotional intelligence to start to get into a mindset that is going to be more potent in helping us achieve what we want to achieve?
There's one thing I'd like to say, and I'm writing about it in my second book, exactly about this, and it is the fact that more and more men are being raised by single women. Like if you look, they depending on the study that you'll find is between 33% and 40% of young boys right now are being raised by single mothers with no masculine men in the house. And if you and I are agreeing with this, there is a difference in gender rules. There are things that men are supposed to do for their children, and same thing for women. Women are supposed to teach emotional intelligence in a way where they're supposed to teach their children to be empathic, to be kind, to have respect for others on an emotional base, to know what it is to have intimacy. Because they are women, they are more in touch with their feminine energy that is based in feelings. And then on the other hand, you're supposed to have a man that's supposed to teach that son to say, hey, you're not supposed to be led by your emotion. You're supposed to control them. You're supposed to have temperance. You are supposed to be stoic. Yes, your emotions exist, and nobody's saying that you shouldn't talk about them. What we're telling you is that they shouldn't be running you. You're not a female. You're not a woman. You're not supposed, a man is not supposed to live in feminine energy, and a woman is not supposed to live in masculine energy. They can go and interchange every now and then if they need to, but it is not supposed to, it's supposed to be temporary. And you're seeing the effects of that right now. Boys are extremely effeminate because they've been taught their whole life to live in their feminine, but they were never taught to be men. They were never taught to live in their masculine. And this is problematic. This is one of the biggest problems we're seeing right now is that really you have a lack of masculine men. And I'm not saying that it's men's fault for not being present. 80 to 90% of divorces are initiated by women. In 90% of the cases, they get the children because their massive bias towards mothers. The system, the family law system believes that women are better parents than men. This is what it means. Yet all the studies are showing the exact opposite. 10% of kids live with their father alone, and they outperform every single kid that is raised by a single mother. Dads do a better job raising as a single parent their kids than women do. And that's because they don't live in their feminine energy. They don't live in their emotions. They learn to embrace their emotions but learn to control them. Plus, there's the discipline aspect of things. Women are not recognized for their discipline. They will discipline their children if the man is not around. That's fine. That's what I was saying. But it's a masculine energy. This is supposed to be the man that's supposed to be the authority. The man is supposed to lead the family. By removing the nucleus family, we're preventing our kids to be raised by both their parents as they're supposed to be. You know, this is what bothers me the most, is that when I talk about this, women take this as an attack. But I'm nowhere, in nowhere, shape, or form am I saying that a woman is not needed. I'm just saying that both are needed. You will never have, your kids will never thrive as well as they could unless they have the two parents present from the get-go. They both have something, those parents have something to teach their kids, boys and girls. They both have something to learn. You know, at the same time, when I say a woman, I was raised by a single woman. She gave up. My mother gave up on me. When I turned 14, she's like, my dad left, and she's like, you're too much. She couldn't deal with me. I would have needed to get my behind kicked. I needed an ass whooping, is what I needed. Who's going to give it to me? My 5'3" mother? Hell no. Hell no. I was 6'1" by the time I was 14 years old. She wasn't doing anything physical, but that's what I needed. I needed somebody to sit me down and smack me. That's what I deserved. But you know what? Unfortunately, this is becoming the norm. And what can we do? You know, the book I'm writing right now, I'm writing it for single women, for single mothers, and I'm writing it for fatherless men, to give them a blueprint as to what their boys need in order to become a man.
Yeah, definitely preach there, because everything you said spot on. When it comes to my relationship with my wife and my son, don't mean to throw her under the bus, but I'm a way better parent than she is, just because I know my role. All right.
Yep.
There is nothing wrong with her. It's just that she just has to understand where she shines and where I shine.
Mm-hmm.
And this happens when a woman is single for quite some time, right?
Yep.
Because it's like, oh, I learned to do everything by myself. I'm independent. I'm a boss, babe. There's nothing.
Oh boy, don't even get me. Oh boy, that boss babe. Oh Jesus. That is a term. It's not babe, the real word. It's another word, and we both know why. But this is one of the things that blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind.
And I just phrase it there is because it's the terms that people use. So when I say it, people are like, "Oh yeah, yeah." Like I heard that phrase before. I heard that I can do everything by myself, put my career first. I don't need a man, and from there, I am going to be fine. But then they find themselves 35. They want a relationship. They want to settle down. But the men who are 35 who want to settle down, they're not picking those 35-year-old women. They're picking the 25-year-old women
who are damaged. Like, call a spade, they're damaged. By the time, you know, one of my buddies years ago told me, when I was still dating, like 6 or 7 years ago, he told me, he's like, there's one question you should ask every woman you ever meet on the first date. One single question will tell you exactly what you need to know. Ask them to describe their fondest memory of their fathers. If that woman looks at you, starts yelling, starts calling him name, pay the bill, get out of there. That woman grew up in a bad place and she's never made peace with it. She's never done the work. But on the other hand, if she starts crying, she becomes emotional, as in, and she starts talking about a specific event, chances are she grew up with a great father, or she's made peace with the fact that her father wasn't perfect. But in either way, one dealt with it, the other one didn't. And if you never did, you cannot be in a relationship with a man. There's no way that woman can ever be in a constructive relationship with a man if she never amended the relationship that she had with her father. Her father is her first love, her first masculine love, in the same way as, you know, how much my, I don't want to say wrong relationship, but my lack, because my mother was put in a situation where she had to be both masculine and feminine, she never got to do either properly. So I never got from her what I was supposed to get on the feminine side. So intimacy has always been a problem with me. There's always something, if there's something I will probably have to work my whole life on, is that, because I was never taught as a child to be cared for. So when somebody tries to care for me, it's weird. It's I don't just open my arms and be ready for everything, because I was never taught how. And again, this is something, it's fascinating that women are responsible for giving that. But if they're forced into a masculine and feminine role, they will never do either properly. Like it's when you look at the psychology behind it, it's absolutely amazing. But it's the same thing for all the women out there. If you're looking for a man and you ask them, you ask that guy on the first date to describe the fondest memory they have of their mother, their reaction right there will tell you everything you need to know. Is it even worth pursuing this? You can know right then and there if it's worth it or not. Like, I don't think there's a better question you can ever ask.
I mean, I think you're spot on with that question. What I would say before that question, because that's a great question, I would say, what do you think is the opposite gender's role? So, for example, if you're talking to the woman, you would just say, what do you think is the man's role when they're in a relationship? So you can get a
Yep.
good understanding of their mindset, because she might say,
Yep.
oh, their role is to protect, provide, pay all the
Uh-huh.
bills, take out the trash,
Yep.
discipline the kids.
Yep.
But then we reverse it. All right. What is the woman's role? Oh, to, huh.
Show up.
Yeah,
Show up
look
somehow.
pretty, and
Yep.
then right there you can
Yep.
figure out if you have a teammate or if you're going to have someone who's going to be in it emotionally. Oh, the moment they're not happy, they're going to
They're
abandon
gone.
ship. The moment the
Oh yeah.
bills are not paid, guess what? She's
They're out.
gone.
Yep.
It's important that for men especially, there's a couple of things we have to do, right? Don't have kids with the wrong woman, and you want to make sure that you show up early on in life, right? Fitness can be a big thing when you turn 15, 16. That's going to create the discipline you need for when you hit your 20s. You have a great momentum, a great running start. It might take you some time to build up, but if you take a passive approach from those teenage years, you're going to have a more difficult time. You're going to find yourself extremely unhappy later on in life. It's
It all
important.
start there.
Yeah, it
It all
starts there.
You gain access to your mind through your body. If you don't first learn how strong you actually are, how the fact that if you get punched in the face, you're not going to break. You're a lot harder than you think. Your mind is only enabled through putting your body through torture. Once you start to realize how strong you are physically, you will understand that it's controllable with your mind. The day that that unlocks in your mind, that your body will shut down. I used to fight, and how many times have we been in situation where people just quit because they're tired? You know what? Your body was not done. Your mind was. You're weak. Your mind is weak. Your body will shut down, literally shut down if you're pushing past that limit. And you know what's going to happen? Nothing. You'll lose consciousness. Then you'll wake up and you'll understand that, you know what? There's my limit. That was my physical limit, but my mind is stronger than my body. I was fasting, I think a month and a half ago, and I was going on my 5th day of fasting. And I'm in the bathroom. I do what I have to do. I get up to wash my hands, and I wake up. I'm sitting on the other side of the bath. So I literally lost it. I lost consciousness, and I'm like, yeah, okay. So I could have continued. My mind could continue, but my body's telling me like, bro, you're done. So about 105, 110 hours of fasting, I just said, you know what? I got out the bathroom. It was like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. I started making food. You can't beat your body that much. Like, if your body shuts down like that, you're done. You've done something wrong, because I should be able to go longer than this. But this is the mindset that you can develop through hitting the gym, through doing martial arts, is to understand that your body will literally turn off. And once you understand that, what can break you? Seriously, what can break you? What are you going to do in a regular life that's going to break you mentally? Nothing. If you know where your body can go and you understand that your mind's stronger than your body, there's no limit. You cannot be stopped.
It's important that we learn that limit. And I like to have clients go on a treadmill, Stairmaster, do something that's going to get that trigger for that mind to start to activate. Stop. You're going to have a heart attack. You're going to pass out, right?
Yep.
I want you to pass out, or I want you to get close to it, because
Yep.
when we get to that 7-minute mark and you're like, I got to stop. I say, don't do it. Don't do it. Go another 30 seconds. And then I'm going to
Yep.
say 30 seconds again in 30 seconds. Just want to warn you. But we are going to keep on going. And then after you do fall and you're on the floor now, I'm going to say, look how far you went past that 7-minute mark. That is the mind tricking you, telling you, hey, stop, right? This is the comfort. Get
Yep.
out of that. Get out of it. Get into growth. Figure that out. And when we get an adversary, right? Someone coming against us, someone attacking us, what most men today do is they retreat. They say, you know what? I have been told, I've been taught, I've learned to not go past to that danger zone, right? Oh, someone's mad at me. All right, let me see how I can fix this. Sometimes it's not your job to fix things. What you
Agreed.
need to do is make sure you're 100%. F everybody else. So if you can get that mentality, you can go far in life.
Martial art taught it to me. Like you, you day in, day out, you're going to be on a mat with a bunch of killers that will bring your ego down all the way down because they probably been doing it for longer than you. They're younger than you. They're in better shape than you are. But they will teach you every single day that you're not that great. You're not that strong. There's always somebody out there that's going to be better than you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay because that allows you to be pushed. That allows you to push yourself to your limit 5 times a week. Like I don't know what the numbers are, but there it has to be less than 1% of people have either tried martial art or are doing martial art. And the effect that it has on people, especially men, is everything because a man is supposed to be a protector. And today you see it everywhere. Men are cowards. Men don't have what it takes. You know how many I got some videos out there that have between 500 and a couple million views, and they're on a specific subject where I'm showing a bad event where people are just snapping their phones out and they're recording somebody getting beat up. The first video I posted of this, maybe 7 or 8 months ago, surprised me. I never saw it coming. I thought it would be like an 80% of people would say, yep, a man is supposed to help. It was a video of it was how do you call it? It was just a test. It was a woman in an elevator with her child, and there was an actor that was grabbing the woman, smelling her hair, grabbing the feet of the child. Like he was being very creepy. You know that there's no in about 5 or 10 people, like 10 group of people showing up in that elevator, not one man did anything. The only people that did something were women. It seemed that women all ganged up on that guy, but there's not one man that did anything. All the men were just there looking at it, just looking at the situation. And the comments were amazing. The comments, if they were black guys, they're like, oh yeah, but blacks don't get involved with white people. That's not their problem. Then others are saying, oh, that's a feminist right there. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, okay, can you stop bringing back everything to race? It has nothing to do with race. You're an asshole. That's all you are. You're a coward. The race, the color of your skin has nothing to do with it. Like, how can you tell a woman's a feminist? I would love to know. How can
Yeah.
you look and, but this tells me if you have any experience in fighting, that is not what you think about in a life and death situation. Your mind is either two things. You're either going to retreat, as you said earlier, or you're going to react. That's it. Those are your choices. That's all training teaches you is the techniques in order to react. Once you react, you know what to do. But I guarantee you that somebody that knows how to train wouldn't even know. They don't look at this. They're not like, what's the color of her skin before I help her? Or is she a feminine? No, you're dead. If those are the type of questions you ask, what had to happen already happened. But it made me realize that people are just cowards. They make those excuses because they don't know. Those people don't know how to fight. One of my buddies is JTF2. It's is the equivalent of your Navy SEALs in Canada. And he said that he was always telling that if you witness a situation where somebody needs your physical help, somebody's getting beat up, and it's not fair. It's not just I'm all for one-on-one fights. I'll tell you right now, if two people want to fight, two guys want to fight, go for it. Go to fight. Once one is done, one quits, one said no more, stop. But until then, bash it out, brothers. I have no problems with that. But he was saying if you see a situation where somebody needs your help and you don't know what to do, that means you don't have the skills. That means you're a coward. And it's okay. You can learn not. I was a coward. I was bullied when I was younger. That's why I did martial art. I did not want to be a coward anymore. But if you don't know what to do, learn. If you know what to do something about it because now you have the skills to defend somebody else. So no matter what, you have to do something about it. It's if you're a man, you're supposed to serve, you're supposed to help others. That's your job.
There's a video that talks about both ways, right? So once there was like a woman who gets her purse taken or something like that, or
Yep.
she's struggling with a
Yep.
man, and then a man comes and tries to help her, and she's like, "I don't need your help." And then it's a mixed message now, right? But
Yep.
then same situation, different video. She's struggling. Guy takes her purse, and then she's looking around. Where are the guys? Is looking. right? So there's a mixed message in society. It's like, do we help? Do we not help? This comes down to character, I believe,
Yep.
because
Yep.
if I see someone getting hurt, being bullied, whatever, I'm going to say something. That's just my character. But I think you're 100% right. You have to have the skills. If you don't
Yep.
have the skills, you're going to say, well, I don't want to end up like that. Like
Mhm.
think of the bullies in the school. The bullies, bully someone, everyone else says, well, I don't want to get bullied.
Mhm.
We learn
Yep.
at such a young age that, oh, wait, if I can just step out of the way, at
Yep.
least it's not directed at me. The attack is not directed at me. It's not my problem. And this is the mentality that we were talking about early on. It's not our problem yet. And then
Mhm.
finally, it is our problem. There's no other choice. We have to learn that it's going to compound and it's going to be our problem eventually. If,
Yep.
like I'm just going to use this. You don't have to be part of guns. Here in America, we like guns.
I'm a Canadian that loves his guns, bro.
So either way, right? They're talking about the Second Amendment. They're going to lower the magazine capacity. They're going to restrict the type of firearms you can have. And people are like, yeah, sure. As long as I have one or two and I still can have them, right? Until what the government says, okay, now we're taking over and you don't have anything to protect yourself. It's not so much of protecting yourself in self-defense like fighting. Like if you
Nope.
or me were having a
Nope.
scuffle, if I have a firearm on me, I'm not going to pull it out and just shoot you, right? If me and
No.
you have
Oh
a
no.
disagreement, right? Man up, right? If
We'll
I
duke
lose,
it
I
out.
lose. All
We'll
right.
duke it out.
E-
100%.
Exactly. But we grow from that. Most
Yep.
people are just so afraid. And then
Mhm.
that fear causes so much discrepancy everywhere else in life.
And you know what? For anybody out there that's for gun control, look at what's going on in Canada. Like I left Canada about a year ago. Like we've been traveling ever since, and all my guns are in my buddy's house in a safe, and he can't even take them out, even if he wanted to. Those guns are paperweights now because we are so scared of nothing that we don't even understand that those firearms are meant one to protect, but they're meant, if you look at the Second Amendment, they're meant into defending yourself against the government.
Mm-hmm.
This is what the government doesn't want to know. And unfortunately, that it's two sentence. The Second Amendment is not very long to read. It just says that it is to form a militia against a government. We're not talking about you entering my house and me shooting you. No, no. We're talking about the government doing what the British did to their colonies back in the days. They're like, yeah, we're not going to do that again. So let's have free speech. And then the second one, let's be sure we can defend ourselves against a tyrannical government.
Mm-hmm.
But again, people, for some reason, people trust their government.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting that if you look at history, they don't care. They're humans. They care about one person alone. It's them. They don't care about you. If they tell you you need to do something, grow to ask yourself the question: is it really for me that they're doing that, or is it for them that they're doing that? That whole thing in the US is amazing. Like the Second Amendment is one of the best rights that anybody can ask for, and people are ready to give it away. But yet, who's going to help them in a situation of crisis? A man with a gun. Like this is what. So how about you just get rid of the third party and learn to do it for yourself? Like 5 minutes is a long time. I used to live in the woods, man, and where I lived, there was no police officers there. Somebody showed up to my house. I had my girlfriend and I had one person to depend on, me. That's it. There's nobody else there to help me. I got German shepherds. You're gonna need to deal with them, and when they're biting you, I'm gonna grab my gun, and you're gonna end up getting killed with dog bites and bullets. Pick your poison, but it's on me. It's on you. Like anything in life, it's on you. Why depend on other people to help you in a time of crisis? You can't. 5 minutes is a long time, very long time to wait on somebody when you're in a time of crisis.
Mm-hmm. And let alone 5 minutes, just going to ring with someone doing MMA, 60 seconds. All right. And they're coming
30
at you
seconds. Oh, yeah.
malicious, right?
Oh,
The
yeah.
blows of
Oh, yeah.
fury, they're coming at you. You have to survive 60 seconds. Imagine you're being attacked and you're waiting for the cops. You don't know if they're going to show up. There's some cases, especially here where I live in Austin, Texas, they have like a police problem because they're like defund the police, like that
Oh, yeah.
mentality. It
Yep.
takes people minimum 15 minutes to get an officer that is in emergency, not emergency. They might come the next day. So right there, that means they're not going to show up when you need them the most. So that means you need to learn to show up and be the person that's going to save you, right? There's no one who's going to save you. You are the person. As we begin to wrap up, I would love to get some final words on what men should be doing And then, of course, how can people find you?
Men should own to their responsibilities, is what men should do. To me, there's my second book is going to be on the 5 virtues of a good man. This is what I'm writing right now. And a good man needs to have courage. He needs to be a protector. He needs to be a provider. He needs to have temperance, and he needs to have faith. Those are the 5 things. Those are the 5 things at a minimum that a man, every single man out there should possess. As you said earlier, it's morality. Those are not skills. Those are not things that you think are right. No, those are encoded in the core of your being. This is what you live for. You live by. Those are virtues that you're supposed to apply in your day-to-day life. That will make you a good person. But that's what men need to do. They need to understand that we're disposable. They need to understand that we are meant to protect. We're meant to protect our family. We are the first and last line of defense against everything when it comes to family, our loved ones, our community. So we need to lead. And it doesn't matter that you're not the boss of a company or you're not leading a legion of men, but lead your family. Be the leader your family needs you to be. And through those 5 virtues, you can achieve that. If they want to find me, you can find me at nicolagan.com. That's my website. You can find me at Real Nico Lagan everywhere. Name the social media, I'm on there. So you can find me there. And right now, I wanted to say too, I made my first book available for free. So if somebody wants the audiobook, and the guy that recorded the audiobook is a madman, like he's absolutely insane. He's great. So if you guys want to go to nicolagan.com and just go under publication, my book is there. It's meant to find purpose, but I'm out there. My thoughts I'm very polite on this podcast, and that book, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
There's swear words in my book. So, just so you know. Yeah. It was written the way I talk. So, yeah. I appreciate the love, man. I appreciate you inviting me on your podcast.
Of course. And your message is definitely one not to be missed. You are spot on in everything you spoke about today. Men do need to show up in their life. They need to be that first and that last line of defense. And I think you are the mix for greatness for them. So check out his books. All the link are going to be in the description box below. Follow him on social media, and then begin to step into the person you're truly meant to be. Both men and women, you have a role. Figure it out.
Amen.